about that genre of music is not what we normally will play at this time around. And again, it's a special presentation, and it is a special demand. Redemption sung by Bob Marley is a special demand, and the special demand is coming from our special guest today. He is a Nigerian human rights activist who has been in the struggle for the past 32 years. He has been a human rights pro-democracy campaigner, and he is a human rights pro-democracy campaigner. He is the presidential candidate of the African Congress Party, AAC. We have with us in the studio this morning, Sowore. And thank you so much for coming to Super FM. It's a great pleasure having you here.
Thank you for bringing me, and I'm glad to be here with Harcourt, and I say hello to our people. I want to make a special, message to the family of Sowore, who tomorrow will have been, a long period of his mother by the Nigerian states. It was more than November 10th, 1995. Somewhere here in Harcourt, and so it's an amazing time to be here, and an amazing period to be in Harcourt.
Fantastic.
On November the 10th, when exactly there'll be a commemoration of his murder by the Nigerian state.
Actually, it will be 27 years by tomorrow.
My calculation wasn't fast enough.
But again, when you talk about a man like Sowore, it reminds us of people who laid their lives for the struggle, and who laid their life in the fight of justice and emancipation of their people, who sacrificed all, who gave all. And again, you also qualify to be in that category. For 32 years, you've been in the struggle, right from the days while you were in the university, even while you were incarcerated at the NYC, and even just a short while, you've been part of the struggle.
I met him nominally during the campaign for democracy in the 90s. I think it was one of the first set of people that set up the campaign for democracy in the organization that was resisting the annulment of the June 12th election at that time, and chasing out the military.
Fantastic. But again, one critical thing while we'll be talking this afternoon is your presidential ambition. I mean, a lot of Nigerians are hoping that the 2023 election will be that turning point for the country. And you are not new to elections. You were in the 2019 election, and of course we realized you got about over 33,000 votes.
Allocated to me.
Allocated. Okay, but again, Independent National Electoral Commission, according to the results, said you got 33,953 votes, and that is INEC, and you came a distance fifth behind all the political parties. But again, you are right here, right now, participating in the 2023 election, and your campaign theme is, we can't continue like this. That's very strange.
Yes, I think I want to say that it wasn't in 1993, which is 30 years ago, but it will be 30 years ago by 2023, that we had a watershed election, the June 12, 1993 election. I was supposed to graduate officially in 1993, and then everything changed when they announced that election. So by next year again, we hope it will be the turning point that we thought we would have in 1993. And with regards to our campaign team, we've looked at, and everybody can attest to this, that Nigeria has been heading in the right direction since independence. Even before then, when independence is our own goal of judging a period that Nigerians ought to be in charge of their own affairs. And we've continued perpetually in the wrong direction through war, corruption, coups, killing, assassination of activists in this country, and some of the worst era that can happen to nationhood that has affected Nigeria in the last 62 years. So we are saying we can't continue like that. It's no longer sustainable to continue this way for Nigeria and Nigerians.
And fantastic. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt, and we're speaking to Sowore. He is the AAC presidential candidate for the 2023 election. We're looking at his campaign promises, his vision for Nigerians, and what he hopes will change in the coming election. And of course, his campaign theme is "We can't continue like this." And quickly, let me just quickly state again, also with us in the studio, we have the Rivers State governorship candidate of the AAC, Dr. Joseph Obede. And Dr. Joseph Obede, maybe you just want to say one or two things before we continue with more issue. Yes, Dr. Joseph Obede.
Also, thank you for inviting my presidential candidate to the studio. And to my presidential candidate, I want to say to him in the River State language, the Neme language, to say, "Oh, Ajue, that's your welcome to River State. Enjoy your stay in River State."
Fantastic. So again, let's come back to what you plan to do. You know, a lot of people know you as a social activist, and a lot of people say, well, your campaign is more of social movements. Can Nigerians actually trust a social crusader like you? And why should they trust you?
Well, you can trust somebody who has been consistent for 3 decades, doing what is just, what is right, by the people of Nigeria without any form of remuneration or accolade. Instead, I have been abused, I have been jailed. I spent 6 years in the university instead of 4 because I was fighting when I was young, at the age of 18. I started as soon as we got to the university, almost. I've been fighting for a just and egalitarian and democratic Nigeria. And if you compare that to other candidates who have always been fighting for their pockets, you see the difference is clear in terms of consistency, character, competence, exposure, even education. I think we have about 18 candidates right now, and none of them can say they have the kind of experience I have.
Tell us about that experience you had.
Well, the most dominant experience I had was starting life early, fighting for justice, and fighting some of the biggest or the most monstrous powers in this country, starting with military rule. Continuing until about 10 years when I left Nigeria and going and starting something brand new, which is media activism through Harcourt. And then deciding one day to leave whatever I have been through. I mean, I've had children, wife, home, car, all those great things. Just head back to my country, Nigeria. I not only do Harcourt, but I'm also a university teacher. I taught for almost 8 years in 2 universities. One for a year, and the second one for 8 years. Most people don't know this about me because I don't brag about them. But and then heading to Nigeria to say it's time to go solve Nigeria's problem, which brought me to Nigeria in 2017, and then 2018 I decided to run for president, and I did up to 2019. And between 2019, end of election, and now, I'm engaged in another kind of struggle, which is a revolutionary struggle to stop the shenanigans that's associated with both governance institutions and our society in Nigeria. That took me back to jail.
But you see, again, a lot of people love the fact that Moyele Sowore is always willing to fight for the ordinary people. But again, the way you go about it is something else that has destabilized those in quotes the elite. For example, in one of your comments, you said if you were given power, you would make education free at all levels. Again, how do you plan to do that?
It's investment.
Tell us about that investment.
Let's first of all break down the problems in very simple way. If you are a university student in Nigeria, you have spent 8 months in the last year, this year, at home. And if you step out of the university area, you have 20 million kids who are out of school. Now let's do the stats of number of kids that are in school. University students are 1.7 million, only in a country that has 200 million people. Only 1.7 higher institution students are in school. Secondary school, 5.2 million, only. I don't have the exact statistics for primary school, but I can tell you that it's not more than about maybe 3 million, or slightly over that. We can debate that, but I'm not sure. So a country that has 200 million people has got more people who are supposed to be in school on the streets. So what we're doing is to look at this number, take out the 20 million off the street by every means necessary, because it's the investment we must make. Why should we make the investment? It costs Nigeria 14,000 naira per day to feed a prisoner. But Nigeria doesn't spend 14,000 naira per day, per month on keeping students in school. That's something wrong with us. But why must we make these investments that this is going to become the powerhouse of the future? And education is one investment you must make in any country that is going to compete and survive and be sustained beyond a certain period of time. If we keep going on this trajectory, we are going to crash as a nation under the pressure of those kids neglected. If you do your little research with bandits, terrorists in Nigeria, the first thing they'll tell you, kidnappers, is that they have been cheated out of the system. That's what they'll tell you. I cover a lot of these things. So now we go to the investment. It's to look at how many of these kids do we want to train, and how are we going to be able to afford it, considering that they can't afford to train themselves, their parents can't afford to send them to school. Only a few Nigerians can send their children to the UK, but if you look at UK, US, or whatever they send their kids to, for grade school, but if you look at the cost of sending a child to the UK to go to school, from primary school to university, it can build 5 secondary schools, and it can train another 100 people, and these are monies that they usually steal from you anyways. So we want to make the investment. Whether we like it, it's an investment we must make. We must put aside at least 15% of our budget on an annual basis to rapidly increase the number of people who are going to school, provide them this education in free and fair manner, provide access and quality of education to them, because it's not just about sending people to school.
But again, I'm very sorry.
We have to make sure that their education is top notch,
because
we need it for this country to prosper in the future and to have prosperity, peace, and make progress and be able to compete internationally as a nation.
You see, for you to achieve that as a president,
yes,
you need to do a lot of work, particularly from the area of legislation, because you are trying to change the entire structure of education in the country. But again, looking at the legislation and looking at the laws of the country, you yourself have described the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic as a fraudulent law.
It is a fraudulent document.
And you're saying that if you become
I say it authoritatively.
I've said it authoritatively. So again, why do you feel that the 1999 Constitution is a fraudulent law?
If I ask you, and I'm sure you probably, about my age, if you knew anybody that participated in writing the 1999 Constitution, I'm sure you won't be able to tell me. Yeah? And beyond that, you should go and listen to Nwodo, who was the Minister of Information, I think, under Abdul Salami, and spend some time with Obasanjo. As at the time Obasanjo was about to be sworn in, there was no copy of the Nigerian Constitution available, because it was not a constitution that was made by the people. They couldn't find, they had to use a photocopy of this constitution, because it was a constitution made by the military and imposed on Nigerian people. Anything you call a constitution must meet certain parameters before it can be legitimate. One of it is that it was made by the people. And if the people are not the drafters, to get the imprimatur on that document, you must let it go through a referendum. It is after then, when people say yes or no to certain parts of it, that it then becomes a legitimate document. Did the 1999 Constitution pass through those processes? Did it meet those parameters? Was it a legitimate document? No. Did the military have the right and the authority to produce a document and impose it on us by decree? No. So it's as simple as that.
So you're going to change that constitution?
Oh, definitely.
You know, talk
people
like
who are
this.
talking about restructuring, I hear it all the time. They are, as a matter of fact, asking for the constitution of Nigeria to be changed.
You know, when Omoyele Sowore
it has foundational implications for Nigeria.
When Omoyele Sowore talks like this, you sort of, start to the elite. I mean, for about twice now, you've been excluded from the presidential debate. Even this coming presidential debate, you've also been excluded from it. Though you said you protested, but I wonder how you intend to protest that.
When they did it in 2019, I took them to court. The day the judge was supposed to give his ruling, he said his vacation had ended. He didn't give a ruling. We protested against it. I'm not going to expose exactly how we tend to do that. I understand that the elites have, get rattled when they hear from people with progressive ideas. But Nigeria has lived for the elite for so long. It is time for it to revert to the people. Otherwise, just call it the elite country and forget calling it Nigeria. A country where, they said out of the 128 million account holders in banks, right? Only 0.6 of them have up to 500,000 naira in their account. 0.6. Do you know how what's 0.6 of 128 million? It's about 720 something thousand people in a country with 200 million people. That is unconscionable. And Oxfam, an NGO in the UK, said 5 Nigerians have more money than 99% of Nigeria. Nigeria has served the elites way beyond its capacity. It is time for the elites to also allow Nigerians to own and control their own country. That's why I'm not afraid to say these things. If the people keep deceiving themselves and keep voting for the elite, as that proverb says that, the forest kept voting for the axe. And when they ask, why are you doing this? They say, because its handle is made of wood. Since they made that decision, the forest has never rested. So if Nigerian people want to keep voting for the axe, the forest of Nigeria wants to keep voting for the axe, we just start cutting down the trees. The elites have ruined this country. They've taken us for granted, taken us for a ride. They have shoved us down the soak way of life. There's nothing they haven't done to us. We can't keep pretending that we are happy that we are being jacked around by the elite like this. We want to change that. That's why we keep telling you we cannot continue like this. It's a tone to warn the elite that period of slavery and servitude is coming to an end. Whether they like it or not.
Well, again, we will see, because the election is coming up in February. And again, talking about the election, in the 2019 election, President Muhammadu Buhari won with over 15 million votes, and People's Democratic Party got over 11 million votes, and you got just about 33,000 votes. Again, that's some far distance from the two dominant political parties, even though you have called that the two political parties should be, exterminated. But again, the same people you campaigned to in 2019 election are the same demography that Labour is campaigning to. So looking at it, doing some permutation, there's a likelihood that you might not even get up to 33,000 in the 2023 election. Am I correct?
No, you're not correct. Because in 2019 there was no election in Nigeria. It was a selection. It was that Buhari and the APC selected him as the president of Nigeria. So that's why I don't refer to the 2019 elections in my speeches, in my public interviews. They don't pass for what you call an election. And it's not only on the radio station that I've said it. I was asked this question and asked to renounce it when I was in detention, that there was an election. In fact, part of the reason they arrested me on time was that they thought my position might affect the position of the Supreme Court that was ruling on that election. And that calling for a revolution at a time that people are in doubt of the credibility of the election could actually spark a revolution. So every political party candidates have a right to speak to demographics that they believe can make them win the election. That doesn't affect me. And you can't be doing the permutation of how many votes that we have until we have elections. My goal, number one, is to make sure that we have elections. Now, part of how they read these elections is what you've already spoken about. It's not to allow fresh ideas and voices like mine to be heard across the country. That's why they cut me off from debate. And that should not only bother people, but should make them happy that there's someone in this race that the system, the established elite system, is not happy with. If you're not happy with the elites and the way they have cheated you over these years, you got a candidate. That's the easiest way to find a candidate.
Fantastic. You're listening to Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt, and we have with us in the studio the presidential candidate of the AAC, Sowore. He's a human rights activist, He's a right campaigner, and he's been indeed for past 32 years. He's with us in the studio talking about his vision for the country in the 2023 election, what he thinks the challenges are. Now, we'll be speaking to him more, and also would like to entertain calls from those listening to us. You want to call us live and ask a question? The number to call to the studio line is 0705 079 1021. That is 0705 079 1021. You can as well call 081 174 31021. And those are the two numbers to call should you want to ask Omoyele Sowore, the presidential candidate of AAC, questions on the 2023 election. But just before I come to telephone line, now I'm a little bit curious because just some days ago, you called for the sack of the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria over the redesigning of the Naira. And you said it's a very stupid policy, that because Naira is not doing very well and the guy is, or the governor, is redesigning the Naira. And you said the government, with you in charge, would have sacked him. Tell us a little bit more about that. Why do you think the redesigning is stupid?
You know, just so that you know that I was right, since they announced the redesigning of the Naira has lost almost 200 Naira in value. What the Nigerian government should be doing is to have competent managers in the macroeconomic sector who can help advance and prosecute or execute policies that will strengthen the value of the Naira. What the Naira needs is revaluation, not redesigning. The Naira's value is what should be the concern of anybody that is within the macroeconomic sector. And you forgot to say that I also call for National Assembly, by the way, to impeach the president for such terrible, economic attitude. Because why? Even if you make the Naira the most beautiful currency in the world, the bread that you buy in the market doesn't look at it. They don't have eyes. Rice don't have eyes. But they can react to value. It is the purchasing power of the Naira that should concern the central bank governor, not the lipstick that needs to be placed over the Naira. So I would have sacked this guy a long time ago. I mean, I don't know. I would have sacked both of them, like the president and CBA governor. Both of them are incompetent people, and I've said this openly everywhere. I know that NBC is going to come out.
That's a very serious statement, because you cannot just say the president of the country is incompetent, and that's a president.
No, I can say that. I mean, that's why I want to replace him. Okay. If he's competent, people will be asking for him to do it all the time. Lula in Brazil has just come back after 8 years because people love
time in the nation's constitution.
Well, I'm just saying that people can joke around with it. If someone did very well, people were asking for Obama to contest for third term when he finished his tenure, even though there was no provision for it. It's a way of saying, I'm complimenting you.
Okay,
yes.
So I'm just going to take two calls in the initial, and we'll come back to the studio talking more to Omoyele Sowore. Omoyele Sowore is the presidential candidate. 021. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Thank you. Yes, good afternoon. Very offline. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us, and this is Super FM.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Harry.
Harry, where are you calling from?
Calling from Minnesota.
From University of Port Harcourt. Good.
Yeah. I just want to, I don't know if it's a comment or a question. I just want to know why the presidential candidate of AAC deviated from his blind path.
We apologize, Harry, from Uniports, but you may just call again. Hello, good afternoon. Well, I don't know if it is the network, but the lines are very helpful. Now, you can also join us on social media and ask us a question on social media. Follow us on Facebook, it is Super FM 93.3, on Instagram, Super FM 93.3, and on Twitch, Super FM PH. Let's try this one. Hello, good afternoon. Hello? Yes, good afternoon. Yes, but it's a little bit faint. You may have to speak up a little bit. Well, again, I'm sorry, it is quite awful. Now, this is what we can do. If you're trying to get across to us, you can send us a note voice on WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, send your comments, just record 45 seconds, and send it to this number, 09059481021. On WhatsApp, 09059481021, and that is the number on WhatsApp. So send us a very short note voice and ask your question to Omoyele Sowore. Let's try to take some of the call. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. All right, Omoyele Sowore, we come back to the telephone lines.
Yeah, I think somebody's trying to exclude me from the telephone.
Let me just take this. Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Hello. Well, the line keep coming in. Again, don't forget, you can send us voice message on WhatsApp and record a short voice message, or send us a text message on this number, text message only to this number, 09059481021. Text message only to 09059481021, or a short WhatsApp message, and we'll take all. But now I'm speaking to the presidential candidate of the AAC, Omoyele Sowore, and he's been talking to us for the past 30 minutes. Now, again, another interesting thing you said the other day, you accused the APC of stealing your ideas.
Yeah.
And you talked about the issue of minimum wage, the issue of Democracy Day being June 12th, are your original ideas taken over by the AAC?
APC.
APC rather.
Yes.
How come, at what point did you initiate this idea, and why do you think it was stolen?
There's public information about it. I went to Harcourt and spoke about it. That instead of May 29, June 12 should become the Democracy Day of Nigeria. A week later, the federal government hurriedly put together an award for Abiola, got the children to come and announced June 12th as Democracy Day from that. About a week or a week and a half later. The issue of minimum wage also came during that period. I proposed 100,000, and they went straight and announced 30,000, which is peanuts, and started to implement it. Today, most of the state governors haven't even implemented the minimum wage policy. They have several other ideas. The Ondo state governor, who is my state governor, also stole my idea of commercializing marijuana, and he even traveled to learn how to do marijuana refinery.
So again, are you saying to us that if you become the president of Nigeria, you will commercialize marijuana?
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, that right there is a $4 billion industry.
$4 billion industry.
Yes.
I'm interested.
That's-
So talk to
So
us.
what you do is we grow marijuana, and then people should forget about the idea of legalization, because you don't need to legalize marijuana. It's already in surplus in Nigeria. The NDLA said it openly, because now they are seeking public opinion about legalizing marijuana, that there are 10 million marijuana users in Nigeria with all the enforcement. And I can tell you categorically that the best place to get a good joint is from NDLA guys.
You're not encouraging people like that. But again,
So, but that's not what I'm saying.
I'm interested
What I'm
in
saying is
investment
that, yes,
opportunity.
yes. So what is
Because
happening is
you're saying
that
it's a $4 billion.
that's for Nigeria
For
alone.
Nigeria.
Yes. What we do is to start, to grow it and sell to countries around the world that are looking for the product, because it has several uses beyond the getting high, which is what most people scandalize it for. It's used in curing cancer, especially people who are at the early stage of chemotherapy or doing chemotherapy usually vomit every morning, throw up as we call it. It will help to solve that problem. It helps in curing arthritis. It helps, yes. The hemp tree itself can be
You're not a
used to
medical
make
doctor.
contact.
I wonder how you get to know this.
It's a function of research. I research things a lot.
Okay.
That is how I operate. So it helps. You can use it to make T-shirts. In fact, it is known that hemp is better than cotton in terms of marijuana. It can be used to build houses. They call it hempcrete instead of concrete. So it has so many uses. Why are we wasting it? Why are we? And the Nigerian government, by the way, claims on a yearly basis that they burn over 1.5 trillion naira worth of marijuana. They burn it. I guarantee you they don't. And if your budget is how many this year? 11 trillion. Now you can get 1.3 trillion from just one cash crop. Why are you burning it?
Fantastic. I just wanted to hold the thought there. If you're just sitting, you're listening to Super FM, and I'm speaking to the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, Omoyele Sowore. He has told us that if he becomes the president in 2023, he will ensure the expunge of the 1999 Constitution, describing it as a fraudulent document. He has also said that the CBN governor ought not to be in office at this time, that he would, if he was the president, he would have ensured the sack of the CBN governor. He also said the political elite in Nigeria are making it impossible for people like him to tell Nigerians the solution to the present problem facing the country. Now, we'll be talking more to Omoyele Sowore. However, we'll try to see if the telephone lines are working, and also we will take your questions on WhatsApp. Don't forget, send us a short voice 59481021, and if you would like to call in to ask a question, we would like for you to call in, and the numbers to call in 07050791021 as well as 08117431101. Let's try the telephone lines first. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. All right, let's get to the voice message, and we have quite a number of them coming in now. Let's have this one.
Good afternoon, President and our presidential candidate. At this time, I want to commend you, sir, for your dogged courage to always say the truth. Everybody knows the situation of this country. I really want to commend you, and I want to say, well done. I want to ask you a question. It's about, I know if I ask who would you want to be the president of this country, you always say you will want to replace the president. But I want to say, apart from you, who else would you want to take over from this our I don't know what to call him, sitting president? Please, I will need your answer, please.
All right, fantastic. And so again, we would like for those who will be calling, please tell us your name and where you're calling from. Even if you're sending the voice message, tell us your name and where you're calling from. Let's take another one. And again, if you're wondering, the number to send a voice message to is 09059481021, and we have this one coming in.
Ask your guest this question. Why does he see the need to attack the person of Peter Obi on social media instead of telling Nigerians what he can offer to them and focus on that rather than attacking individuals? Thank you.
All right, and so that's a question, and though the sender did not tell us the name, but again, we want those that are sending us voice notes on WhatsApp, tell us your name and where you are sending the message from, and the number again is 09059481021, and we would like to respond to your question. So, Omoyele Sowore, there you have the question. Why do you often, I don't know if that's true, you often attack the person of Peter Obi on your social media? And of course, I recall that at a certain time you wrote on your social media that you were one of those who made Peter Obi. I'm not knowing, maybe that's the right word, but again, something along that line. Yes.
We've been on this show for some 30 minutes now. I've not mentioned anybody's name. I'm selling to you my ideas. People only want to pick on what's interesting, suits them. I don't pick on Peter Obi, pick on all the candidates, especially the frontline candidates, because I know them. I know them by record. I've not met. I've only met Peter Obi twice. When I first was with Chino Achebe in Rhode Island, US, and second time was during the ICANN event. So, what candidates do is bring out their own your candidates. So you don't say to me that, oh, I attacked Peter Obi, and it's just so that you will know I was the one who provided the document, the court document, and the court of appeal document, that helped Peter Obi to overcome his candidature in the Labour Party. And I have said this now, I think almost a month and a half, they haven't disputed it. So that's social to you that when it comes to fairness, I'm fair to everybody. Equal opportunity lifesaver. I don't know if he will still have made it, but I was sure that they were planning to disqualify him based on party factionalization. But that document, which they used in overcoming that problem, came directly from him. And when I was saying it, his lawyer who handled the case, not his lawyer, but lawyer to the NLC, Femi Fala, and Doyo, we were seated on the table. They never denied it. Peter Obi himself can't deny it. That's not the first time I'm helping Peter Obi. When they chased him out of government house, the first time and the second time, I came to his aid, supported him on Sahara Reporters, ensuring that we're revealing what was going on underneath that got him impeached at the time, and that was how he was able to finish his tenure. He himself, when he met me in the US, had asked me to come to his hotel room so that we could talk. He announced to everybody, this guy that... But I never went. But all I'm saying is that, where is it that you hear me speak, that I don't talk about what is wrong with Nigeria and the characters who are behind Nigeria's problem? It's not Peter Obi alone that talk about Buhari. I've spoken about Buhari this morning. You're like, Allah, how can you say the president is incompetent? You know, because why I'm saying this, why I'm explaining this is that if we are not careful, when Buhari is over with this...
And you're talking about President Buhari?
Yes, yes. If we are not careful, somebody will come to you and me and say we should apologize to Buhari. When we elect...
You're talking about President Buhari.
Yes.
I would prefer you call him President Buhari.
That's your problem, not mine. Like, you can call him whatever I want. He's the president of Nigeria, so that's his name. We call Obama, you know, we're not under any obligation, even as a matter of station rules, to call anybody by president. And I can decide that I don't see him as a president anyway, but that's a conversation for another future discussion. But I don't want Nigerians to be so shallow as not to listen to a whole spectrum of ideas that will make the Nigerian country work, and not be sentimental about, oh, why are you attacking Peter Obi? I attacked Tinubu too. Peter Obi attacked Dino Melaye too. You know, everybody's attacking because it's election season.
If I may ask you,
and I attacked Dino Melaye too, and all of you were happy about, oh, Sowore gave it to Dino Melaye, but when you give it to Obi, oh, you know, why are you attacking Obi? If Obi doesn't have any, if he doesn't want to get questioned, he will have no business contesting in the election.
So
do you see 200 million people?
Do you see Peter Obi as a formidable opponent to you in the election?
No, I don't.
So you think you can do better than Peter Obi in the election?
Never let the election come and go, but you see, we are all in the social media sector.
Okay.
I'm one of the pioneers of people who use social media a lot. And I introduce a lot of creative use of social media through Sowore. So I don't get scared when people say to you, you know, and I think it's a political, I know it's a political strategy to present the country with fait accompli. You only one candidate will win. Any other person, get out of the way. They did it for Buhari too. Look at where it got us. So why are we sentimental about who will win and who? Let everybody present their ideas. Don't tell somebody that they cannot be something because you have a candidate. But you can also do that. It's a political strategy. It works on some people, it doesn't work on some people. So where you get the pushback is for people who it doesn't work on. And I'm one of those people you can't tell to go and shut up. You are wasting your time.
Fantastic. We're talking to the presidential candidate of the ANC, Mr. Sowore. And we'll just go back to some of the voice notes that are coming in. We'll also try to see if we can get back the telephone line. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us. This is Super FM.
How do you intend to increase your voting strength all across the nation from 33,000 plus maybe to 15 to 19 million votes in 2023?
And thank you so much for that. Let's take another one so that we can have the AAC presidential candidate answer all the questions in one swoop. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Super FM. 0791021 and 08117431021. Now we have some issues with the network channel, but again, many voice notes are coming in, and so we can just try these voice notes now and see how that works.
Facing the studio. I'm voicing you guys from Malaysia 11 Petrochemical. My name is David. Please, I want to ask your guest. If he become the president of this country, how will he take us out of this?
Okay, again, that failed, but I believe that you want to ask how will he take us out of the present situation. Let's try the telephone line. Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. This is Super FM. Hello, good afternoon. Again, a very awful telephone line there. But again, one of the person asked, the last time you were in the election, you got 33,000 votes. What are your strategy to ensure that you increase the number of votes this time around? And the second one is asking that, what strategies do you have in place to ensure that Nigerians are taken away? I know you've been talking to us about all of this, but
yeah, I've told you, and I don't want to keep repeating myself, that there was no election in 2019. The rest of them, what it did was to fabricate numbers, even by their own standards. They, I was in detention when they were swearing. After the swearing of Buhari, I was in detention, and we were hearing from the government, from the DSS, that was article that won the election. But
that's in what you said from the grapevine,
yes.
Because we know, of course, what it was.
Yes, so they were saying, the DSS guys were saying to me that we know what happened, that there was article that won the election. But if the election wasn't credible, why can you be adding? You can't do statistics based on wrong parameters. The real parameters is to allow every candidate to campaign, debate, and because a lot of processes lead to credible elections, not the event on that day itself. By the way, on my way here, I got one of our researchers found out that one of the places that are most searched about is in River State, Port Harcourt, when they narrowed that down. So there's a lot of interesting young people, old people, who want to get out of the hysteria into which our political elites have put us in this country. And they are aware that there's a candidate out there who is not afraid of anybody, who's got vision, who's got mission, and who is, very agile, healthy. Anybody can fall sick, by the way. That can change the situation, and they are very eager to hear from us. They are very eager to vote for the person. But you've already seen, all these efforts on the side to rig the election and making sure that things that you are even legitimately entitled to, like debates, being allowed to erect your billboards. In Lagos, we have been placing posters since the elections. They have a group that tears up posters that are not of the APC. So how do you live in that kind of society where people don't respect the rules for democracy and election, and keep asking how are you going to win? How can you win an election that doesn't happen? But I can guarantee you that if the elections are fair, there's no way.
If the election are free and fair,
yes, there's no way.
The umpire has said to us, the umpire being INEC has said to us that this time the election will be free and fair. And we have the Electoral Act, we have the Beaver system, and several other systems. So again, talk to us. As one of those that will contest in the presidential election, are you assured in the Electoral Act, in the electoral system, to guarantee a proper election this time around?
I'm not sure. That's the truth. But we're going to make sure that we fight it. Part of why we're participating in this election is to put in place a legacy of free and fair election, whether they like it or not. I have participated in the election once in 2019. I knew what I like people did. And I have been in meetings with them with questions regarding how elections should hold and how you can make it happen and not properly answered. And you see that the APC government has succeeded in taking over the INEC board. with their people. Things have not been denied. So the citizenry must be ready for whatever it takes to ensure that the outcome of this election will not produce candidates who are not fit or who have not won elections but want to go back. I don't want to say enough of that, but it's very, very, very clear.
All right, very well. So again, we'll just stay there. We'll have voice notes and voice coming in. I'm going to take 2 of them, and we have less than 10 minutes more on the show. Let's take this one. Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. This is Sweet My Fest. Hello. Okay, so let's have the voice notes now. We can take some of the voice notes. Again, we seem to be having some challenges with the telephone lines, but you can send us a short voice note, and the number to send a voice note to is 0905 9481 send us the voice note. Tell us where you're sending the voice note from, and also tell us the name and we'll ask your question. And should you want to call in to be part of the show live, you can just try the number, try 07050791021 or 08117431021. Those are the 2 numbers available right now, and for you to participate. Now, we might just have another number because this number is not available. We'll just have about 10. And again, okay, we seem to have a voice that's going on. Again, that voice note is not a very clear one. We apologize, so we can't take that. So, you inaugurated your campaign in Kano State. How do you know like that sheet? You said to him that, well, there's something he said about it that, again, people are beginning to say, Haruna Magashi is not a very known figure until now. So, Kano, why the choice of Kano? And Haruna Magashi, why the choice of Haruna Magashi?
Yeah, Haruna Magashi is very well known in Kano and Northern South as the defender of the poor. And he runs a law firm that provides pro bono services, that's free services to the poor people to get out of whatever legal problems they have. For your information, he was a human rights lawyer who was a lead defender to Exactly. But that's how I met him. I just come out of detention. I met this guy, very calm, but super brilliant. He was working with Femi Power on how to get exactly out of detention. And you can imagine a lawyer that can help us exactly get out of Paris plea. It's not somebody you see is unknown. It's a person of well-known quantities. And also, we were following that tradition of service. Like choosing Kano because of Aminu Kano, who most of you are aware of, the great socialist politician in Kano, whose own theory is the one who invented the Mortal Kombat. His own theory is how to do war and poverty. So those are the major reasons why we went to using Kano as a launchpad.
Fantastic. So again, we have another number you can call. A whole lot of people are trying to call us. So get this number. You can call this number 081 0655 4706. 081 0655 4706. We just have less than 10 minutes more on the show. Again, the number to call is 081 0655 4706. And we'll see if the calls will come through on this number. Let's take this one now. Hello, good afternoon. This is Super. Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, we can hear you. All right, we'll take another one. Yes, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Hello. Yes, good afternoon. We can hear us. Tell us your name. Yes. We can hear you. Speak out. We can hear you.
Okay, I'm coming from
Yes, Rumba. Go ahead.
I think our president grant for me. I agree with very happy that for you to find yourself come to Rivers in this time. You're very welcome. I want to ask you one simple, very question, very simple question concerning Obi as an abstract of River. And I think at the end of the election, Obi find that he was the winner. Will you accept defeat?
All right, so thank you so much. So you're asking him, will he accept defeat at the end of the election? So let's take another one, and we'll just put the two together. Had a good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. This is Super FM. Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon. Question, George.
Constitution is a plan for the future of the people. It's the law that holds the people together. And every presidential candidate is not hammering on giving the people a law. Even God could not run the country because Moses to come to the mountain and pick the 10 commandments. That 10 commandments is food of the Israelites.
All right, thank you so much, Judge. You would have asked the question, but again, your statement is noted, and all is read and things here. And let's see if we just take one other call, and the number 08106554706. Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Yes, tell us the name of where you're calling from. So, ask your question.
My friend in the studio, my young friend, he contested as a president in 2019, I have contested in 2023. How age are you and the other people are not?
Okay. Okay. All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. Again, so we asked the
To the world. So, being a citizen of a country that is doing well for himself doesn't make him an elite. The word elite is something you use to describe a special privileged set of people. That's how I interpret it. It may not be the exact dictionary definition of it, but we have frequently used the word to describe people with privilege in a society like ours. So that's why they categorize them as economic elites, the political elites, all kinds of categories. And I want to quickly answer the guy who was asking for B is declared when I will accept the results.
Actually, I'm not going to put it that way. I'm going to ask you, if you lose in this election, will you accept defeat?
If there's an election.
There will be election. That's what INEC means.
There's a difference between an election and a selection. Be very careful how you jump into when they've been promising us free and fair election since the beginning of Nigeria. It's never happened. Even the British rigged our elections, and also particularly the census, in the interest of some people. So wait until the election comes before you start asking premeditated questions about what. I would never accept a rigged election. I'm old enough, learned enough to understand what an election is, if it is an election, because I have fought for a credible election before. When I was in my 20s, you will see the video if you Google it. I was with Abiola in 1993. In 1993, I was 22 years old. There was an election, credible, won by him. They cancelled the election. I fought for it, so I know what a free and fair election is. If we have one, you can guarantee that you don't need to call me. But if we don't, you will hear from us, all of us.
And just before we begin to wrap this up, you've just
But I didn't get the last questions by that man.
It was
two
asking
questions.
that, would you still consider yourself as a youth?
I've never told anybody I'm a youth before. I know what a young person, a youth is, and most of I'm campaigning or contesting because I'm constitutionally qualified, according to their rules, qualified to contest. If you are 35 and above, as a matter of fact, if you look at Nigerian Constitution very well, or the Electoral Act that not too young to run law that he made, it did not consider. There's no provision for a real youth to be president of Nigeria, because 35 and above is not youth, and you can't be less than 35 to contest as president of Nigeria. But go and look at the meaning of youth under the UN definition of youth. You discover that even the age 35 is not considered as youth. But I would say this: I'm youthful. I look younger than most of the candidates. Even the ones that are in their 50s. But I look younger than them because I do a lot of youthful things. I exercise. I do sports. My kind of outlook towards life is youthful.
You've said to us, even in this studio,